Anyone waiting?
Yes, yes, we've got people coming in. We've got Bruce Dean and Jen
All
Moore and
right.
Julia and Christine and Magda and who else? I can't see everybody because there's just too many people coming in. Nicole, Susan. Hey, so good to see you guys. Ricky, Nicole. Ooh. All right. 18, 19, 20. I think we had like, what was it, 37, the last count?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Melissa. So we've got about 19 people in here so far. And it's kind of like stalled at that number. So I'll give it a little bit longer and then we can get started, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. So glad to see all these names. Okay, so it looks like it's at, oh, we got 20. So I think people are just gonna be coming in as we get started. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and just say, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being here so early in the morning. I know I'm not a morning person, and unfortunately this was like we wanted to have this meeting sooner rather than later, just so we can get everybody the information on what we've been up to. And we just wanted to everybody to know what we've been doing working behind the scenes. So yeah, we're glad to have you guys here so early. And unfortunately, this was the best time for all of us and all of our schedules to be able to coordinate and get here. And this way you can have your Saturday, get this out of the way, and have the rest of the day to do whatever you want. So anyway, one of the things that we want to talk about today is that this is going to be, this pandemic, it's been hard on all of us, but we're going to use it the best we can as an opportunity for the board to, the BAA and the board and Artwalk to kind of take a hard look at how we've been operating and do like a reset and really see, you know, what fundamental changes we can make to make the BAA work harder for everybody. And I'm not just talking about Artwalk participants, I'm talking about the community as a whole. So that is kind of what we want to do, because we're just still not sure what's going to happen with the pandemic and moving forward. We're still not sure how we're going to make fall happen, or, you know, if we can have like a live in-person art walk. We've got a lot of feedback from the community, and I can tell you right now that it's been very, very divided, like almost right down the middle. We've got people who are like, no, absolutely not, don't have an art walk. And we've got other people who are like, yes, I'm so ready, just go for it. And so that's a decision that we're still trying to like test the waters and find out what the best thing is for everybody, and what's ethical for everybody, and just how that would work, you know, with all the things coming up with like the variants, the Delta variant, and what might be going on in fall. So what we want to do is concentrate on how, if moving forward, no matter what happens, we want to make sure that the BAA and the board are working for the whole community and to benefit the community, and that no matter what happens, that we're all going to be in a good place. Okay, so that's kind of our main goal and our main focus. And after this, we'll have a Q&A session, and everybody will be able to ask questions. We're going to try to address the questions that people sent us. We didn't get a whole lot of them, but the ones we did get, we're going to try to address in this first half of the meeting. And excuse me. And then we'll give you a chance to share your voices. So if we can unmute you and you can talk if you want to actually have your video on and have people see you. Excuse me, we can do that as well. So just let us know how you want to be heard or seen, and we can make it happen. So we're going to get started. And first, I'd like to introduce you to all our board members. So Kate Hoffman is our treasurer. She's one of our executive board members. Vaughn Hannon is our IT director. Christine Shoemaker is our social media director. And Dustin Noose is our logistics director. And Baha Dinesh, gallery director. And we have one board member who couldn't unfortunately be here today. And that's Veronica Scoopin. She's our newest member, and she's our board secretary, right? So let's get started. I'm gonna turn the floor over to Vaughn, our IT director, and he's gonna talk a little bit about some changes that are gonna be made for our website. Vaughn?
Yeah, hey everybody. Thanks for coming. Just real quick, we are going to be making some changes to the website, as Matsila mentioned. The first thing is we're going to open it up to all residents and make it for no cost and up until the next event, because we're trying to experiment with how we use the website and how we make it applicable to everybody, not just Art Walk participants, but how we still use it to promote the Art Walk. So there's some figuring out to be done. But the important bit is that right away we can get anybody who wants to get stuff up on the website can send it to submissions@breweryartwalk.com as usual, and we will get you send your name, your bio, a link to other places where people can find you, and also up to 10 images of your work, and we'll get those up on the website. And if it's unclear what your art is, please tell me what category you belong in. Sometimes I have to guess. And there is, in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to take the website down probably over the weekend, because there are some technical issues that some of you may have noticed. We have a rogue plugin that's causing a lot of problems, and I need to troubleshoot that, and it's been a real pain in the ass. So I will just take the website offline probably on a Saturday night and see what can be done. And also we'll post a recording of this town hall up on the website as soon as we can. I'll probably do that later today, assuming Zoom lets us get it later today. If there's any questions, you know where to find me. You see me walking around, or I'm Vaughn at breweryartwalk.com. You can email me there, and feel free to find me.
Thanks, Vaughn. So yeah, those changes are really exciting, and we're looking forward to working a little bit more, experimenting with how we can make the website work better for our residents. And we also have been looking at ways that we can use our social media to work harder for residents. And Christine's going to tell you a little bit more about that.
Hi, thank you. Hi, everybody. Great to see so many people here this morning. And trust me, none of us are early risers, so we're so happy that you braved early waking up this morning with us. So I want to thank everybody, first of all, who has been tagging Brewery Artwalk on social media and using the hashtag, because a lot of times that's how I see you guys and I'm able to share your content. If you haven't done that, please do it, because actually, we don't know who lives here. I mean, I know because of who we follow, like Brewery Artwalk follows, but there's, over 500 people that live and work here. And I only share, a certain amount of them. So continue to tag us, follow at Brewery Artwalk on Instagram and Facebook, and let me know if you live and work here. So that way I can share your information. The other thing, we started a new Facebook group, and I'll put the link in as soon as we're done. I'll put it in chat. It's called Brewery Artwalk Information Exchange. And this is a group specifically for what the Artwalk Association does. It's for questions, discussion. We are moderating it, and I'm in Facebook 24/7 virtually, so I will be keeping an eye out on it. We'll get back to you if you have any questions as soon as possible. It's a place to give our residents more of a voice and a place so we can respond in more of a discussion format. It's a place for you guys to post information, about the art walk, or for us to post information, sorry, things like that. So it is more private than brewery happenings, and there are guidelines. So you'll have to, when you log in or when you put your address in, you'll have to check it off to see the guidelines and stuff. The other thing, we are starting a blog on the website. And I'm going to be handling this. And what I'll do is I'll send, all the artists, we'll figure it out. We're still in the works of things, but I'm going to be sending artists questions and answers, like interview questions. All you have to do is answer them, send them back with some of your art, and we'll put you up on the blog. And then we'll post them, and you can share them on your social media, to your mailing list. And it's a great way to bring people back to the website. So, and it's a great way for all of us to get to know the artists that live and work in the community. And it's going to be open to all residents also. And I think that was it for me. So I'm happy to answer any questions or anything also. So thanks so much.
Thank you, Christine. Yeah, so those are some of the changes for the website. And I'd like to also talk a little bit about fundraising. And so one of the things that the BAA is planning on doing is a large fundraising campaign. I know that we have received concerns from some residents about fundraising and the optics of that. And we feel like there are a lot of people who are specifically looking to donate to the arts. They're going to be choosing to donate to the arts, whether they donate to Brewery Artwalk or some other arts organization. And so those are the people we're going after. And we are a charitable organization. So it makes sense that we use that ability, that fundraising ability, especially now when we're really, really needing the money to basically to see the next art walk. So one of the things we talked about as a board was how we would approach a grassroots fundraising campaign. And we know that every good fundraising campaign needs a really good story. And we thought about what is the story of Art Walk and what's the story of the BAA. And we realized that it's not just our story. It's a story that it's your Art Walk and it's your story. There's not just one. Every single artist has their own story about how Art Walk has affected them, how, what Art Walk means to them. And I'm sure that every single artist here has a story about how the pandemic and not being able to have an art walk has affected them, how it's affected their art and maybe even their process and their livelihoods. And so in the next coming week, we're going to be asking you for your stories, and you'll be able to submit that in any form you like. You can send us your own videos. We saw with the video project that people were really passionate about wanting to share it the way that they wanted to. And we heard that, and we thought, here is a great opportunity to get really personal and let people share their stories in their own unique ways. So we'll be asking you for your story, reaching out to you and telling you how you can send us that. And we will put those stories together in a way that we can use for to spearhead a larger overall fundraising campaign that we will do on like a GoFundMe and share for social media, and even try to do some PR and outreach so we can get that real grassroots feel. And to do that, we're really going to need everyone's help. We're going to need we're going to call on you to share that with your circle of friends, with your contacts, with your clients, and your circle on social media, so we can reach as many people as possible with that story, with your stories. And we're also, as we develop, and there's other things in the works that we're talking about, and BAA is always working behind the scenes, and there's other things that we are planning on rolling out that just to help the community and on a much larger scale than just Artwalk. And as we do that, as we expand, we're really going to need your help and your involvement with the BAA. So we'll be calling for volunteers. And if you want to step up and volunteer, even before we call for volunteers, feel free to reach out to us. It's at board@breweryartwalk.com. We urge you to get involved. If you feel like you're left out, if you feel like you want to become more of a part of the Art Walk or more of a part of the board, I can tell you the easiest way to do that is to show up to meetings, introduce yourself, send us emails and say, hey, how can I get involved? Because we're always looking for people to help, and we're always ready to talk to people and bring them into the group and have them help and share their ideas. And so that is the best way. Just show up, and we'll be happy to have you. So I would like to, at this point, open the floor up to questions. So let's see. If anybody wants to raise their hand, I see we have a question from Susan. And if somebody wants to jump on. Oh, I see somebody. Oh, we've got a whole bunch of people raising their hands in the waiting room. Okay. Bruce Dean, I'm gonna unmute you. You can go ahead and talk if you wanna. You have to unmute yourself, Bruce, I think.
You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good. I have two questions or comments, actually. One is, I think this might be a good year, or at least a year to consider having the Art Walk a little later in the fall, perhaps, just because of the pandemic. Maybe even going into December, possibly. That's just a suggestion that might work. I'm not sure how everybody feels about that. The second thing is, one of the expensive things that we pay for is a postcard. I really love the idea that we have this whole history of postcards for the Brewery Art Walks, but it's kind of something that we don't really require at this point. And so I was going to suggest that maybe it's too expensive to have postcards this time, since most people don't mail them out.
Yeah, Bruce, you're so right, and that is something that we've absolutely been talking about is going paperless, and this is the time to do it because everybody now is kind of getting used to using like QR codes to look at menus and things like that. And so yeah, and we were even talking about placing a few of the larger maps that we used to have around the campus, but basically just going paperless and having people have QR code maps. So yeah, this totally something that we've already talked about and are looking at, and you're right on. Yeah. Okay. Is that it, or did you have something else?
What about maybe having it a little bit later in the
I think if we're able to have a fall art walk, yeah, it's probably later is better. Just, you know, at this point, everything is so uncertain. Yeah,
Thank you.
sure. Alexia? It looks like you're muted. You're muted. Are you talking? I can't hear you. Can anybody else?
No.
No.
Looks unmuted, but cannot hear.
Yeah. Okay, we might have to come back. We might have to come back to that. If anybody else wants,
Wait,
Oh.
I just got a note on my computer screen saying, asking me to unmute or to mute. So maybe you pushed the wrong button, the wrong person or something.
oh no, they're unmuted.
So, yeah.
But yeah.
That's-
Okay, I'm going to mute and maybe come back to that person. I don't see any other hands up. Does anybody else have anything that they would like to share? Okay. Oh, okay. So Josh. Josh, you're muted. You want to go ahead and talk?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Hi. I had a thought. I've done a lot of art walks probably since 2001. So my thought was in resetting and recentering, perhaps I don't really understand how we market, but I know we do radio. I know you guys are LA Weekly, things like that. But I'm thinking if, since there are so many art walks in so many parts of the city, not to focus on downtown, but to focus on all the community concentric areas, Alhambra, East LA, Lincoln Heights, maybe Silver Lake, maybe Glendale. I don't know if that's stretching it, maybe not, but Atwater Village or something, to try to really focus on the communities right geographically around the brewery in marketing, as opposed to all of Los Angeles, because I feel it's diffused. And I feel if it's really about community, which you mentioned several times, which I think it is, it's a combination of, you get sometimes school children in here, which is just fantastic. It's like almost for them like a mini museum visit. To collectors, we all need that, or people that are potentially looking to purchase art to support us. So the identity of the brewery artists, I think I'm speaking a bit conceptually, but in rebranding us as a definite mark, I think it would be best to start small and work out. So that's just a general note. I don't know what that means for all the individuals who has to do the marketing, who has to do that. I also agree with the postcard thing. That's not happening anymore. People are running electronically these days. But so anyhow, that's my note, and that's what I have to say. Oh, I can't hear you.
Thanks. We appreciate that. And yeah, we're definitely looking at how we can, especially for this first art walk coming up, how we can change our media buy just to work better for us. And we're probably looking at a smaller media buy and a smaller footprint. So it might make sense to look at more local advertisement.
May I say one thing, an addendum?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, okay. Also, I mean, I put this in my little question thing, but I guess it's my own thing. I think that there's really unique individuals and artists around here, which we all don't know because it's vast. Let's face it, we're in our own studios often, and it's hard to keep in touch with, since Barbara's isn't around. There isn't really a center meeting place right now. But I really would prefer if we just had brewery artists, not make it a bazaar from artists that are selling lamps from far away, and they come in for the weekend. When people come to the Brewery Artwalk, I know this, they don't know the difference. And this is how they identify with the Brewery Artwalk. So they just have their experience and they come. But I don't think it's a true indication of who we are when we start having so many outside residents here showing artwork for 2 days. And I understand artists make money and they rent it out. I'm aware of that. But I really think they would do better, really better for themselves too, if they focused on their own work and marketed it out that way. So that's a thought. It's from my own point of view. So I really, because the feedback I get, and I get a lot of feedback, a real lot, is that it's all over the place. And I think it's more all over the place because we're getting so many outside influences that come in for, and they bring their stuff. It's a bazaar for them. For them, it's a gig, and for us that are here, it's not a gig. This is what we do. This is who we are, and it's important to us. And I'm not saying it's not important to them, but it's just not, they're not brewery artists. I don't know how to explain it. So I think there's a misrepresentation in identity and what we're doing when we do that. And that's been going on for some time, but it's something I note. So there you go. I rarely come to these meetings, so I'm unloading, but there we go. Okay, there you go. So.
Well, thank you. We appreciate hearing your voice, and we're glad that you shared that with us, and definitely take that into consideration as we move forward. And again, really thank you
Sure.
for
All right, well.
adding that. Okay. I'm gonna move on. Let's see.
Unmute.
Teal? You'll need to unmute.
Can you hear me?
Hello.
Yeah, we're good. I'm in the sticks. I'm super remote, so I'm hoping that my internet is adequate. So hi everybody, thanks for having this town hall. I wanted to note just one thing in regards to trying to tackle the topic as to not whether or not we have an art walk, but how to have an art walk in the fall. And I think for those of us, this is an ongoing conversation, but for those of us who work and live in outlying buildings that have lower traffic for art walk, it's always been tricky to figure out how to attract people to the other corners of the property that aren't the busiest, most socked in buildings. And to me, this is a really amazing opportunity to try and redirect some of the traffic to places that have more outdoor space and more movement and more room to breathe, instead of just cramming everybody like sardines into the two main buildings. So I'm personally, Marshall and I are very excited to invite people back into our studios, and we look forward to doing that. And we'd like to brainstorm ideas of ways to kind of help guide in ways that might not be as busy in some areas of the property. That's it.
Did you have any ideas about that? How that can happen?
Oh,
Well, one idea is, since we're gated, are we going to push people through that single gate that's open for the parking? I think that might help. I think signage would definitely help. And we do a lot of signage, but maybe some additional color coding on the signage would help people move to different areas. They could see on the map the different colors and have the signage the signage that's outside, have it the color of the area, stuff like that.
yeah, we've talked about in the past a few times about checking out the map and kind of distributing color codes a little differently. This kind of gets into the weeds a little bit, but we're happy to review it when we're not in a community meeting, if that's better. And like years ago, and there was a conversation about there was somebody who was doing inflatables, and there was conversation about having those at different places on the property to attract people, down different walkways, like having some sort of a visual spectacle. Sure, that costs money, and maybe that can be covered by our amazing fundraising efforts, or maybe it can't. But I think there are ways to brainstorm this that could be functional and fun, and
relieve some of the stress on the super busy buildings, so people feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
So I can tell you that we actually do own those inflatables you're talking about. Or they're not really inflatables, they're actually flags. They like go up really high, and people can see them. And yeah, we bought those specifically so to attract people to certain areas. So we can, yeah, definitely talk about how we can utilize those to our best advantage. We have them, we paid for them, we should definitely use them. And then also, I think the map was not that long ago changed by, was it Sarah? Sarah changed the map to have like color coded areas. So you might want to take, the next time we start working on a map, you might want to take a look at it, because I believe that's already been done. And it might just be that it's only recently been done since, I can't remember when that happened.
So totally agree with that. I think there was some issues with the map. Our names in our building were actually in a different color area than what we were on the map. There were some issues there, but this is not the forum for that. Really, it's more so to me also, there's a lot of people in the back corner that open for Artwalk, that if that back gate is going to be closed on Moulton, it's probably going to be difficult for them to get any traffic back there without helping redirect traffic back there. Because a lot of people come from the UPS parking lot and go through that gate that's normally open. But given that that's closed, we want to make sure and just point out that the people back there, might have a hard time getting people back there without that gate being open.
And maybe it's having volunteers who are excited about standing near whatever entry we have, saying, hey, you batch of people, you guys go down here, go have an adventure, and just kind of corralling people and mixing it up. Like, if we're not going to have paper maps, so everybody's going to be running around like ants anyway, we might as well just like send them down different chutes and have them, because the brewery acts that way. You end up down this path, and it's just get people distributed across the property. I think it would be an interesting thing to try.
That's a good idea. I remember early in the pandemic, you'd go into a grocery store, you go into like Trader Joe's, and there'd be somebody who'd be like, no, you can't go down this aisle, go that way. And you'd be like, but I don't know down this aisle. And that might be a good idea. I like that.
Yeah. And, we get people who come into our studios who are like, I've been coming to Artwalk for 10 years and I never knew this back corner existed. This is amazing. And like, it's fun to greet those people, but it would be awesome if there was a way to kind of like get word out that we're there and we've got a cool spot and there are a lot of artists back there.
Yeah. Dustin, do you have anything to add to that? You're logistics, so.
No, I think it's going to take some brainstorming to see what is going to be eye-catching. And we do need to figure out what's going on with the gates. I think there's just so many unknowns too.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But it's a thought.
No, I appreciate that. I definitely wrote it down. So dispersing the crowd has always been a struggle for us. And you're right. It's going to be more of a struggle if we only have one entrance. So
yeah. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, Ted, I'm gonna
Hi, Anna is here with me, so she has a question, but I'm going to talk first. So having done this art walk since like 98, I think, the same questions pop up all the time. So I'm going to say I saw Jill was on here, and Jill can talk about the difference of when that back gate is open because she's back there. But we have had color maps, black and white maps, online maps. And unfortunately, people tend to gravitate toward the center because it's bigger and there's food. So the gates to me seem to be the only real option you guys have to direct people. And I think if you could do that back gate toward like where Jill Sykes and Teal are, like that back corner, so people need to come through that area. They'll find Emily, they'll find Jill, they'll find Andre Mariposky in that before they hit the front area where the food is. Because everything else has been tried and it doesn't seem to make any difference. But since you have the new gates, you have an opportunity to try redirecting people like through the sides. And now I will hand it off to Anna.
Hi, I was just wondering if there's been any thought given to having a very small art walk, but it being fully outside in the parking lot with people, setting up tents, tables, that sort of thing, as opposed to inside.
Yeah, so unfortunately, that's not our agreement with Carlson Industries, and that's not outside is not covered by our insurance. So unfortunately, that's just something that's off the table for us.
Got it.
Yeah. Okay, did you guys have any other questions or?
I think Alexia did. She was able to
Yeah.
talk again.
No, I meant Ted and Anna. No? Okay.
No, I'd be curious if Jill is online to talk about, because she's the one that's on here who's had the most experience, I think, with trying to get people in that corner and whether
Right.
just the gate change has made a difference for her.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea earlier of just having docents kind of directing people. I think that's super simple and just, send people off in one direction and then maybe send another group of people off in another direction, just so there's like an even disbursement over the property. I can't hear you.
Super quiet.
Yeah. Okay. It looks like they're muted. So let's move on. Dustin, did you say there are some people who have questions in chat?
Yeah, well, we have in the Q&A, Jill was asking if you could go deeper into like the cool new plans and ideas that you mentioned.
Right.
Yeah.
So there are things that we're still working on. So I don't want to get too into the weeds with them because I mean they're just starting to figure out how to do them. But I mean we're talking about maybe offering some services all year round to not just people who participate in Art Walk, but people who people who are community members. And how that looks, exactly what those services are. I mean, just off the top of my head, we're thinking like maybe, negotiating some discounts for things that artists need, like websites and, art supplies and that kind of thing. We're talking about maybe, offering seminars for like, social media and how legal issues that artists face, and I mean these are just I'm just talking off the top of my head. So but those are the kind of things that we're looking at. How can we make the BAA work harder for residents all year round, regardless of if there's an art walk or not? So those are just some of the things we're thinking of. And I hope that helps answer your question. Dustin, was there any other questions in?
No, we've covered it so far. Jill does have her hand up though, so I think she has more.
Okay, well, we'll get to her. I want to go back to Alexia? And
Yes, yeah, that's working.
yeah, and see if we can.
You hear me?
Yes. Yes, I
Hi.
hear you.
Good morning. Sorry, I can't stand Zoom stuff, but I figured it's worth it to try and attend to share my voice. Okay, my question was just when do you think the public will be allowed to enter the brewery again for art business reasons?
Do you mean
And
like for Art Walk, or are you talking in on a broader?
yeah, just to come and like purchase our art or get our art even like now or sooner, so we could. Yeah.
I guess I'm still confused. Are you specifically talking about Art Walk or broader?
Sure. When will the public be allowed to come in to the Art Walk?
When we'll be holding another Art Walk? So that's something that we're still trying to figure out. Fall is kind of looking very murky, so we haven't made a decision yet, and we're just keeping an eye on things that are happening, like the Delta variant, and what may happen with vaccines, and whether or not we're going to be facing another quarantine mandate come fall. That's, and I think like Bruce was saying, it's definitely probably better to look at later, just because we don't know what's going on, and and then there's the ethical question of, well, even if we can open, even if technically we're legally allowed to open, is it ethical? We've got 500 artists here approximately at any given time. We've got like about 75 to 100 people who participate in Art Walk, and that's only a fraction of that main population, and we have to take into account those other people too. There's a lot of people who don't want an Art Walk. They're not ready to open up. So is it ethical to make those people basically hide in their loft for a weekend, just to serve a small percentage of the overall community? So, and these are all questions that we're looking at, and trying to answer. And very frankly, they're not easy questions to answer. But that's kind of what we've been tasked with. And I think that's why we're kind of focused on looking at ways that we can serve the greater community beyond Art Walk too. So we want to make sure that whatever happens, that that we're here for the brewery community, and that we're able to provide value to them. So I'm sorry I couldn't specifically answer that question, but I hope that helps.
Thank you. I also just wanted to say I thought Teal's idea of kind of directing the traffic, maybe coming in one entrance and exiting through another, would really help.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll unmute myself now.
All right, Jill, I'm going to come to you next. Looks like you're muted. Hey.
Did that work?
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. Okay. So, yeah, Ted was talking about the gates in the back, and back in the ancient days, I mean, nobody ever came through those back gates. And so we made some signs, which were really, really a big help. People will still walk right by my big open roll-up door, whatever, but I mean, at least they were coming in on more sides of the property. And over time, I know we've been trying to direct people down, in front of me, in front of the green building, and over to that way towards the hot boxes. And I think a lot of it took people in my studio literally asking me where to go next. Where do I go next? And so I would give them a map. So I'm a really big fan of having those maps, because I can circle, this is where you are, this is where you want to go see so-and-so, and help direct people, because they want to see a photographer. Well, I can send them across campus to Bianca. if I had those maps. That was really, really, really helpful. But people just, they walk around in high heels and you wonder why they don't come back. There's not a lot of control we have over stuff like that. So, so there's the news about the gates that Ted was asking about. It was a real challenge to get that figured out, and having the parking lot at UPS was also a game changer. So back in the old days, that was the question. So does that answer what you wanted to know?
Are you talking to us or yeah, I think
yeah, I'm talking to you guys. Yeah.
I think that was more of Ted's question, but yeah, I think that's always good feedback to know, how traffic is flowing, and I think that's a general thing too. If you notice different flows of traffic in your area, let us know. Sometimes it might just be a matter of putting up a sign or putting up a flag, or or just brainstorming a way to get more traffic in that area. But if you don't let us know, we don't necessarily have any idea.
I totally understand that. You need to have communication. But speaking of signage, I had an incident several years ago with my roommate who wanted to put big signs up in front of the roll-up saying, the gallery's here. And we kind of got into a big argument about, no, you can't do that because we're not allowed to have outdoor signage, and became a big, stupid thing all weekend with this guy. He finally put it away both days, but there's always been a question of, can people put signs outside their front door beyond the little printed thing, whatever you call it, that you guys give to us, the color coded and all that. I mean, that's great, but sometimes people want to put other bigger signs out. And I personally find that really intrusive and tacky looking, but I totally get why people want to do that. So we need a happy medium. Do we need bigger signs on each door? I mean, I don't know. I'm just literally asking questions there on that one. I don't have an answer either.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, we might be getting a little ahead of ourselves at this point. I mean, we're still trying to figure out if we're going to be able to have an art walk in fall.
No, I understand, but this was a question of just trying to get people to move their bodies around campus and, go to the back where Teal and Marshall are, or go over to the smokestack. That was the question. I understand that we don't know if we're going to have an art walk or not, and I have my own questions about that as well. But
okay, do you want to ask them now, because you might not have a chance? We might have not a chance to get back to you for a second question.
Well, I think you've covered a lot of it. My hesitations are not only the COVID thing, because all these variants and who knows, and how comfortable do people feel having swarms of humans, strangers in their spaces. That is off-putting, but also the issue of the RVs on Moulton, which of course is out of our control. And I know the city's supposed to come in and sweep those guys off the street again. And it's a challenge. These people have my sympathy, but they're not nice neighbors. So it makes it hard. And they're taking over all of Moulton and Main Street. So that's another issue. Again, we don't have a heck of a lot of control over that.
No, we don't. But we do try as much as
we
can.
I know.
And I'm sorry, we've got about 10 more minutes and we've got a lot of hands. So
I'm happy to pull back.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Hi, Chris. Can you unmute?
I think I just did.
Awesome.
Hi, everybody. My name is Chris. I moved here just a couple months ago. My thoughts about the thing. Hi. We're looking into maybe an app-based mapping program. So as an app, lists the artist, what kind of work they do, maybe how to categorize, and we'll basically direct people maybe connected to Google Maps. I kind of do web development for a living, and I can look into that to see if it's something that's feasible.
We actually have an app already. So okay. Yeah, so you're right on, and probably will be utilized. It's been kind of underutilized, so we'll probably be looking at ways to use that a lot more.
And part of the signage, put one of those little codes where you put your phone up to, and it automatically goes to either if the web page or the app download page.
Yeah. You're right in line with what we've been thinking. So
That's really all I wanted to say, though. Thank you.
thank you. Hey, Jen. You're muted.
There we go. I think I'm unmuted now.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Thank you, board, for having this meeting. It's great to see everybody's faces and have some connection to the rest of the brewery that folks we haven't really got to see in the last year and to hear their input. I'm enjoying the discourse so far and what's been said. I just wanted to submit a response. I heard Joshua Elias's comments, and while I agree with certain things about manufactured goods don't fall in line with what I believe the art walk, or that with what we should be doing here, it should be art made by artists directly. And we've seen that kind of come and go. And I think Christine might remember like the guerrilla setups on Main Street with people opening up the side of their vans and trying to sell t-shirts and things like that. I'm totally not for that kind of thing at Art Walk. However, if I misinterpreted what he said, I apologize. I am 100% for non-residents showing at Art Walk. One of the ways that I became involved with Art Walk, and the reason I wanted to move here, was because I was a non-resident showing at Art Walk. Also remember that non-residents pay higher fees, which obviously we're in a situation where we need income for the BAA. And I have in my space and Sean's space been able to host some amazing artists who do not live here and probably wouldn't, but they're local to LA and they don't have venues like this to show their work. And I think closing Brewery Artwalk to brewery residents is an extremely myopic and narrowing the field down in a way that would counteract anything that we should be about here as far as being an art happening in LA. I can't even imagine that. I don't know anywhere that has those kind of requirements. And so I just wanted to say that I think that would 100% be against growing Art Walk and growing this community and in involving people who don't have a venue to show their work and perhaps having more people want to live here and thrive here. That's all I have to say.
Thanks, Jen. It's really good to hear a point and then a counterpoint. Otherwise we don't know. So yeah, and they're all good points. Really, you made some really good points. Yeah. So yeah, those are definitely all things that we'll be taking into consideration moving forward. I think we have one more hand raised, and Melissa?
Oh, hi.
Hey.
How are you?
Good. What?
I'm not necessarily new to the brewery, but I'm moving into the hot boxes as an official lease person soon. So, so hi at my official status. I was just asking, I put it in the questions too, but I was just wondering the policy. Well, I know there might not be an answer on it, but about the vaccines and the vaccine screening, because technically Art Walk maybe could be classified as a concert or a sporting event where I just think it would maybe make people feel safer and feel more like participating if there was some structure. Like, oh, I have a vaccine, so there's a code on my phone. They gave it to me automatically. I have an iPhone, but they just gave it to me when I got it. I didn't even ask, right? So something simple like just scanning the code that they gave you on your phone, or, I mean, I don't want to get into this vaccine passport debate, but like, I don't think it would be terrible to require that in a closed art community and then for outside visitors. I was just wondering people's opinions on that.
So those are all things that we've talked about, and yeah, certainly there are ways that we could implement something like that. And we've talked about masking, we've talked about other things. We definitely would want to be in line with, and we have somebody that we work with in the county health department. So they would be helping us, and we would be lockstep with them in trying to find out what is the best way to run a big event like that, and what we need to do, not just what's the best way, but what our legal obligations are too. So yeah, we would be working with assuming that we would be moving forward with an art walk even, we would be working hand in hand with the county health department and just to find the best way to, and the safest way for everybody to move forward.
Yeah, I just kind of think it would put a lot of people at ease, knowing, you know, that there was maybe a vaccine screening at the door. Like, yeah, I mean, again, everybody has their opinions on that, but you know, it is a closed community. So in my personal opinion, I think it would be fair, you know.
Yeah. Anything else, or was that the main thing?
Oh, no, oh, sorry, nothing else. It's Saturday morning, I'm spacing out.
we're all just having our coffee.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So I don't see any other hands from people who haven't already gone. And we're kind of at the end of our hour. We've got a few more minutes. Does anybody have anything else that they wanted to share, panelists or attendees? Yes, Kate?
I just wanted to draw the point home again that this is just the beginning of our conversation with the community, and we want to continue that in our new Facebook group. So please go join it. It's going to be a really valuable resource for everybody to have conversations just like this. So that's it.
There was one other thing. Vaughn, you said there's a question about, can you, from Susan in questions, can you tell us what the deciding factors for the fall art walk would be, and when you expect to have made the decisions as to a go or a no-go? Wow, that's really hard. Yeah, I mean, there's so much that's just up in the air right now. Like we said, we talked about like variants. There's the Delta variant is coming in, and I think I heard that Israel was open and they just shut down again because of variants. And so, you know, who knows what is going to happen in fall? We could all be back in lockdown, you know, and you know, one of the things we hesitate in doing is planning an art walk that we put a lot of money into and having to once again cancel. So yeah, I mean, we're just kind of just like keeping our ear to the wind right now and seeing what's playing out in other parts of the world, what's playing out in other parts of the country, how it may play out come fall, you know, when people's vaccines maybe their vaccines will be wearing off, you know, and that's another issue, you know, that we're worried about. So we don't even know if come fall it would be, we don't even know if come fall it would be, we'd be able to, like from just a public health standpoint. So this is a really hard question to answer. But as soon as we can make a determination, we're going to, you know. I hope that helps. I feel like I'm not giving you enough information, but it's just so up in the air right now. Does anybody else have anything to add to that? Panelists? No, okay. Sorry. Any other questions? Anybody who hasn't asked a question that wants to talk?
There is a question in chat about, Oh, sorry, Dustin.
Oh yeah, I think we were about to say the same thing about possibly doing a BAA meeting outside where people could come in a non-Zoom situation.
Yeah. Like for regular BAA meetings.
Correct. Yeah.
Monthly meetings. Yeah, I mean, I think the BAA meetings are kind of like there are nuts and bolts work sessions. It's where we get the bulk of work done. And so doing it outside is really difficult for us because it's hard to hear. We have, somebody who's taking minutes.
You need Wi-Fi.
Yeah, there's no Wi-Fi. And it's hard to have like work surfaces where you can have papers and have them not like blowing around. So having it outside is really difficult. And that's one of the reasons that we decided to have this Facebook group. So it's a place where people can, it's not the BAA just having this, solid hour of work while people sit there and wait for like, a few minutes after the meeting to have an open forum. And it's a place where people can go and talk and share their ideas and have a discourse in real time. And so that's kind of where that is, and we don't get very many visitors who come to the meetings. So, and we have our door open and fan running. So and we're masked and everybody.
And we're all vaccinated.
Yeah, everybody on the board is fully vaccinated. So if you want to come, it's pretty safe, especially if you're vaccinated as well. And so that's kind of where we are with that. Any other questions? Okay, panelists, do you have anything else to add?
No.
All right. Okay, well, if that's it, then I'm gonna say thank you all for coming. And please go and join the new Facebook group. We're gonna be getting more information out about the fundraising event, how you can help that, and about, we'll give you all the links to like the recording of this and how you can submit for the gallery. It's free, so get your work up there, and all the information about the Facebook group. Okay, just keep an eye out for that. If you're not on our newsletter, go to our website and please sign up for the newsletter. All right, thank you. Bye everyone. Have a great day.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.